Hello, IB Exchange PYP community. As moderator for my July post, I wanted to try and do something a little bit different. So I'm just sharing a short video with you, and I will put that in the discussion thread, of course, along with the slides for you to review later. I've been thinking a lot about feedback lately, really both giving and receiving feedback, and how that really plays a role in developing assessment-capable learners. Of course, I always start with the IB program standards and practices. And we know that in the overarching category of learning, it explicitly talks about feedback. But I really wanted to pull these out because it isn't just feedback itself, it also has that word using feedback. So I want us to think about how we actually use the feedback that we are providing learners. When I think about feedback, also an image that comes to mind is this powerful image from PYP, from Principles into Practice. I really like this image because it shows how all the moving parts work together, and it really shows that feedback goes beyond just teacher to student. We can see that interaction happening between teachers and students, but between students and students, and it also brings into the parents into this whole feedback loop process. But for all of that, we're really looking at feedback. How am I going? Where am I in the learning? But also feed forward. Where to next? What are my next steps? When I was first introduced to international education, I actually was introduced to this video, which is called Austin's Butterfly. And if you haven't watched it yet, I do encourage you to take the time. I've provided a link for you. It's a video that really demonstrates the power of using very specific feedback to a learner. And it goes beyond that too, because in the video, you can also see how a student actually uses feedback, uses that specific feedback to really make adjustments in their learning. So I kind of wanted to put that out there because that's a favorite of mine that I've used over the years. But when I think about being in a classroom and working with students and teachers and also working with parents, I wanted to share a couple of strategies and tools that I've used when thinking about feedback. One of them comes from the Harvard Project Zero tools, and it's called the ladder of feedback. And I really like this kind of structure to work with students because it kind of starts there at the bottom with clarifying questions. And I think this is important to really understand the learner and understand their work before you can go and provide them with feedback. So it kind of builds up. You might ask the learner some questions. You might express some things that you connect to or that you like. You might ask them to wonder about things or maybe state some concerns you have. And then, of course, ending in a suggestion. I also like that this protocol offers some kind of sentence starters, and that really helps some learners to get started when they're giving feedback. And then, of course, after some experience with working with this tool, your students can also begin to generate their own sentence stem starters that are really more appropriate for their learning community context. This is definitely a favorite of mine. Another one that I've seen used a lot and I've used comes in this structure, and it's basically tag. And this is a short video of a teacher demonstrating this, but the letters actually kind of just guide you what to do. So when giving feedback, you might tell the learner something that you notice about their work. You might A, ask them a question, again, bringing in that clarification. And then G, give a suggestion. Where's that feed forward? Where can they go next with their learning? So these two examples really are about giving feedback. When I think about a learner using the feedback, kind of receiving it and then doing something with it, I often go to these stems. And I think these can be helpful too for learners when someone has given them feedback. In consideration of that, they can think, okay, what do I need to now start doing based on that feedback I've received? What might I want to stop doing? Is there something I can keep doing that I've been doing with my work? And of course, there's that change piece, that kind of feed forward, where to next? What do I need to maybe change or adjust in order to keep going in my learning? So just a few short examples, but I also am interested to hear from you. So I've set two reflection questions, but of course, please share anything that you would like to after this video. But what might be some strategies and tools that you've used to support students with both giving and receiving feedback? And also, what are some ways we can make sure that we're providing the time and the space for students to do something with that feedback? I think that's a very important thing for us to consider as well. So thank you so much for listening. I'm really looking forward to engaging with you down in the discussion thread underneath this video, and we can keep our discussion on feedback going. Thank you. Take care.